Welcome to a brief overview of our quality assurance offering here at RPI. My name is Michael Grace. I call myself the Chief Unicorn here. I'm a director in our Infor practice, but I'm also the leader of our strategic services practice, which is focused on quality assurance, organizational change management, business process optimization, and intelligent automation. I happen to be a ProSci certified change practitioner. I hail from our office the furthest west out in Phoenix. I am a podcaster and lead a podcast called Tech Pro Unicorn, where we talk about leadership, ERP, strategy, healthcare, change management, and other offerings with entrepreneurs and other leaders in the US and abroad. A little bit about RPI, just very briefly. We have been around since 1999. We're about now 150 folks, growing towards 200 this year. We have about 100 full-time certified consultants. These are consultants that are certified in the software on the right that you see: Blue Prism, Highland, Kofax, and the Infor ERP product. We have offices across the United States in Baltimore, in Phoenix, Tampa, Florida, Buffalo, Kansas City, Missouri as well. We handle a variety of different offerings, but most of our life has been in professional services related to back office processes, technologies, and optimization. So quality assurance is an offering that was really asked for by our customers. And they came to us and they said, even though we have a steering committee and we have all the right project infrastructure, these big projects just seem to constantly go off the rails. They exceed the budget, they skip the timelines. And even though we have all the right people involved and all the right people on our steering committee, we're still having these problems. So that's where this offering really originated from. It's an offering that typically when you hire an implementer, the implementer comes in and they have their own methodology, and you have a project manager and a sponsor, and you have a project team, and you have technical resources and functional resources, and then you have the client side team, your own teams, and everyone's working together to try to get this project done, but they're really in the weeds. And then you really have this project organizational structure where you have a steering committee that kind of sits above, but the steering committee consists of your leaders of your organization. And as we all know, leaders of organizations are very busy people. So those folks are conflicted because they want to participate on this project. They want to provide oversight and guidance. They want to make sure that it stays on the rails, but they're really busy with competing priorities. So this offering is really to serve them to provide better oversight to these types of engagements. So the quality assurance wheel really is kind of split in half. The top half relates to project management activities that are traditionally happening as part of your project teams. So it's everything from your project plan, your budget. You might have some level of project monitoring going on, some reporting. You might have an issues and risk log. You might have some change management going on. You should. You might have some causal analysis resolution. So when something goes bump in the night, you want to really look at why did it happen and make sure that you have plans in place that it doesn't happen again. That's really what that is. And then project closure, obviously, is putting a bow on it at the very end. That's a typical life cycle. So what we do on a quality assurance offering is we kind of sit above that, and we really kind of make sure that all of that is happening. Because people are busy, the project team is busy, and they also have competing priorities, and oftentimes things just don't get earmarked or reported up in a timely fashion, and it creates project delays and ultimately costs money. So we kind of move then to the horizontal activities. These are things that we want to make sure are also happening, right, that aren't necessarily project management activities. And through this, we're really looking at things like how are the groups coordinating? How's training being developed? Do we have enough resources? Are we really improving processes, or are we just doing the same thing in a new system that we're doing today? How are we documenting our decisions and our configuration of the new system? And then how are we really making sure that we hit KPIs that we talked about probably early on when this project started? So this offering can sit above your vendor. If you're using the software vendor like Infor, we can sit above that, and we can serve at the discretion of your company and really make sure that the vendor does a great job for you. Or if perhaps you chose a different vendor than RPI, we can serve in a QA role using our methodology and the project methodology that you have in place to make sure that we stay on course and make any recommendations that might prove the project to be more successful. So that's essentially what it is. And you can see on the left all the things that it does. When we don't do this, right, when we don't follow the project management QA process, and we don't catch things early, and we're not focused on quality, it just leads really to delays and costs and rework and lots of frustration. It's never something we really want to get to. So we want to catch it early. So we have literally been, these are just our healthcare logos mostly, but we have been in the space of implementations for well over 22 years. So we have a very sound methodology that's very much based on your traditional project management methodologies. We have ProSci certified change managers that look at it from a change management perspective. All of that information and all that experience comes to bear in these quality assurance offerings. These are led by our most senior resources that participate and oversee and review and guide and direct and recommend from the quality assurance offering. So how do we do it? Essentially, we align on what it is that we're going to do, what level we're going to participate at, depending on when we're engaged in a QA engagement, because we can come in at the very beginning and be part of the project team from day one, which is highly recommended, or sometimes we're called in because the project just is a little off the rails and they see it going a little more out of control, and they want someone to come in and help re-engage the project to get it back in alignment. We're happy to do that as well, right? So it depends which way that we engage in. However, the idea is we review the deliverables, we review the decisions that have been made, kind of where we are in the project. We're going to make recommendations. We're going to monitor the success of the project, right? As we go through, we're going to be involved. We're going to be reviewing deliverables as they're created and really looking for warning signs. We're going to bring all that information back to the steering committee and make recommendations that they should participate with or direct in the project. And that monitor is going to really go through go live, right? We're going to be there to support you during go live. And at the end, we're going to help you with an after action to really look back and get some lessons learned, and where did we do things well, and where did we maybe have opportunities. So the deliverables that you get out of this, it's not just a bunch of people kind of hanging out, observing the project. We actually provide an initial report when we're engaged of the readiness of change of the organization, and kind of, again, if it's in process, we'll give you an initial report of some key areas that we think need focus. We'll provide regular updates to the steering committee. We'll obviously identify anything that could require a course correction, whether that might be, hey, we need to add additional staffing, or we might need to outsource some work. We'll make those types of recommendations. And then obviously during post-go live support, a lot of times you need more people than just your project team to support an organization, and we're happy to provide that. So we can provide subject matter experts, technical assistance, those types of things as well. We can scale this. Some people ask us all the time, is this a small engagement or a really large engagement? And that depends. That depends how much you want us involved. Obviously, the more we're involved, the more consulting hours there are, but the more oversight there is, the higher the cost there is, right? But the lower the risk, right? So it's, do you want to have a high risk project with no quality assurance? That usually leads to change orders and delays in timing, or do you want a lower risk project where quality assurance is more prevalent in the review and the recommendations through the life of the project, that ultimately tends to have a much lower cost. When we look at the engagement on this project, people say, well, okay, small, medium, and large, how does that tier? We call it bronze, silver, and gold. And here you can see kind of the different levels of resource engagement. So an engagement manager would be somebody like myself, a director or partner level resource, somebody very senior who's done many full cycle implementations. They would be involved directing the team. We would have a solution architect that would really be looking for your kind of traditional project management type of project opportunities. So budgets, timelines, documentation, those types of things. We would have the senior functional consultants engaged, reviewing decisions to say, hey, maybe did you think about this? Did you think about that? And then a change practitioner really looking over, hey, how is this going? How are people feeling about the project? How engaged are they? Do we need to maybe do more training or more engagement to get people on board? So again, we can scale each of those roles. We can totally customize this type of an engagement. This just simply says we typically go over the entire life cycle of the project, and the check-ins with steering committee and such are more periodic. However, the activity of the QA roles are across all your work streams. How much does it cost? This is by month. If we did something really small, it could be $5,000 a month. If we did something larger, it could be $20,000 a month. This all gets driven by time and expense. So you tell us how much you think you need us involved. We'll scope that out and we'll give you a cost. Again, if you spent $21,000 a month across the lifetime of your project, roughly $250,000 a year, and it's a one-year project, and it saves you from going over budget or delaying, right, and extending all your own resources on a large implementation, that can be money very well spent versus the alternative of delays and potentially, having cost overruns and having to go ask for more budget. So in a nutshell, that's what quality assurance is. We're happy to always talk to anyone about quality assurance. This video is going to be available out on our executive page of services, and we'd love to talk to you more about it. Thank you very much for your time and staying with us during this video.